My name is Sara, and I am running for state representative for District 27. I'm a mom, I'm an attorney, and I'm a disability rights advocate. I got in this race because I wanted to create a disability, mental health, and addiction caucus in our legislature up in Columbus. I'm going to start my speech. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I'm going to start my speech the same way I started it in my 2018 campaign, because I want you to understand what drives me. Ever since... Thank you. We have our expert. Thank you. It's not your first rodeo. I guess I got to get used to that, right? So ever since I was 2 years old, I knew that I wanted to be a mom. I remember holding my baby doll in my arms and rocking her in my little rocking chair in my room. And then I'd go outside and make mud pies in my backyard. My childhood is not unique. I had many happy times, but I also faced some really challenging times too. I could not put this into words for many years, but now that I'm an adult, I can say that my life was greatly impacted by my biological dad's addiction to alcohol. Because of his addiction, a mental health condition, my mom became a single mom by the time that I was 4 years old. My brother, my sister, and me had no other choice but to become self-reliant from a very young age. My mom was an extremely strong woman. She worked full-time as a nurse. She owned her own home and she owned her own car. She saved and she managed her money well. My mom's job provided us with good health insurance, and we attended good public schools. For elementary school, I went to Cincinnati Public Schools. And for my high school, I graduated at the Forest Hills School District, which is right here. My mom taught us the importance of speaking up for ourselves and for speaking up for others. She taught us to pay attention to what was happening around us. She talked about laws and policies to us, and she taught us that it was our civic duty to hold our elected officials accountable by voting in elections. My mom worked as a registered nurse, and money was really tight, so she decided to take evening classes to get her bachelor's degree. Later, she even earned her master's degree. It didn't matter how challenging it was for her to do this, all as a single mom, she got it done. And from this experience, I learned that you can always make things better. As you can probably tell, I'm very proud of my mom. I'm proud of her tenacity. I'm proud of her as a role model, and seeing her navigate through these major life challenges provided me for what I would need in my future. My mom remarried, and like my grandfather and my uncles, my stepfather was a police officer. Public service and law became the dominant themes of my life. By the time I was in 10th grade, I decided that I would become a lawyer. I wanted to work as a trial lawyer, and I was determined to stand up and fight for people that were counted out. While I was in college at the University of Cincinnati, I had the opportunity to apply for an internship at the White House, and I got it. What an amazing experience for a young woman in her 20s. After I returned to Ohio and after I graduated, I gave my old boss a call and asked her for a reference. Instead of giving me a reference, she asked me if I would work for her. And so a week after graduating from college, my first real job was working in the West Wing of the White House as the assistant to the special counsel to the president. This position gave me an incredible insight and understanding of the workings of the executive, legislative, and judicial branches of our government. I also learned a lot about human nature and politics. A few years later, I became a lawyer, and I also became a wife and a mom. My husband Kai is here tonight. Kai, there. We met in law school in Cleveland at Case Western Reserve University. We have two amazing, funny, and great kids. We have a 3rd grader and a 9th grader. They are everything we had ever hoped for and happened to our children when we are not here. I know that we're not alone in this fear, and many caregivers feel similarly. So I decided to take things into my own hands for my children. And because I'm a lawyer and a litigator and someone who stands up for people who need my help, I decided to work on better policies so that I can make things better for others with similar challenges and fears too. These policies will help many of us. People with disabilities, including mental health disabilities and special health care needs, make up the largest minority in the world. We are comprised of families from every race, religion, socioeconomic background, ethnicity, and political party. At some point in our lives, it can affect all of us. Let that sink in for a moment. When we make things better for people living with disabilities, we make things better for all of us. So this is what drives me. This is why I'm here to kick off my 2020 campaign for state representative in District 27. And there is so much more that we can do better. We can do better by getting better insurance coverage for the conditions that our family members are facing. For example, mental health parity. Or for covering hearing aids for our children who have hearing loss. We are paying top dollar for insurance, but we're not getting coverage for the services that we need. We can do better by addressing the caregiver crisis for our aging population and for the people living with disabilities. We have an acute shortage now, and we are unprepared for the future. We can do better by ending the cycle of putting people with mental illnesses into jails and housing mental health patients who committed no crimes into prisons. Instead, we need to make sure people get the health care, the treatment, and the services that they need so that they can lead healthy, happy, and productive lives in their communities. We can do better at helping children and families, including foster and adoptive parents who are affected by the opioid crisis, to help children who are born with neonatal abstinence syndrome, a new form of developmental disability. We can do better by including mental health and health education in Ohio schools. We need to address the mental health crisis that has made suicide the second leading cause of death among adolescents, teens, and young adults ages 10 through 24. We can do something. We can do better by, and do something, to end the gun violence in Ohio. We can do better by providing better funding for our public schools and paying our teachers appropriately for the critical roles that they play. And we can do better by creating health education standards for students in Ohio schools. Ohio is the only state in the nation that does not have statewide health education standards. We can do a lot better and a lot more than this. But to do so, we need to be at the table when decisions are made and not on the menu. We need to be represented in Columbus. The Ohio legislature is key to our lives, from education to healthcare, workforce to the environment, gun violence prevention to fair voting rights and redistricting. The laws passed in our state legislature in Columbus are directly impacting all of us in Ohio. I hope that you will join me in my campaign. I need your help. Please visit my website at sarabidder.com to sign up to volunteer. There are lots of opportunities to get involved and to support this campaign. Yes, we will have to raise a considerable amount of funds in this coming year to win this seat. To give you an idea of what I'm talking about, it costs $10,000 to send just one postcard to the households that we target in my district. I will likely have to spend $250,000 to target and communicate with the voters that I need and to win this seat. This sounds like a lot of money, and it is, but it's actually modest in today's environment, and way less than my opponent will receive from his party headquarters. If you have already given to this campaign, thank you with all of my heart. And I will probably be calling you again, just know that, it's a fear. I would like to also just end with this today. What happens next is up to us. We can make things better, all of us. We get to decide what comes next, what type of world that we will live in, and the world our children will inherit. And this is why I'm running for state representative, to do something now to make things better, not just for my family, but for yours and for everyone else's. Let's do this together. Thank you so much.